So today's topic is controlling your day, proactive planning over emotional reacting. Wow, that's a mouthful.
Easier said than done.
Way easier said than done. Everyone's got lists and lists, and I'm going to do this tomorrow, and I'm going to lead generate, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to set this up. And what happens? We emotionally react to everything else and don't do what we said we're going to do.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. So who's got this locked down? Who's really proactively planning, either planning their day out on, their week out on Sunday and, looking forward that week and seeing what you need to do, or even the day before getting your list ready for the people that you're going to call the next day? Who's really doing that at a high level?
I can always improve it, but I think that, I'm doing a pretty good job with my regular, consistent activities. I have my day planned out. I have time where the team and I can talk about some fires that might come up in the day, or, whatever questions that they have. So it's not sporadic through the day. So I can definitely improve a lot, but I think that, my schedule is pretty locked down typically from week to week, from day to day and week to week.
Okay, so tell us more about that. So your time blocking, do you do a month out, a week out? Are you time blocking it in a calendar? Do you just have lists?
Yeah, time blocking within a calendar. So with the training program, the coaching program that I work with, every day has a different theme. So I'm calling a lot of realtors on Mondays. I'm calling pipeline clients with updates on Tuesdays, pre-approval, active pre-approvals on Wednesdays. Thursdays are my professional contacts, and my VIPs are Fridays. And so that's what I've basically build my day around, and have between, depending on the day, an hour and a half to 3 hours blocked out for that. As far as the team goes, it's morning, noon, and night. So they can ask me questions really anytime, of course, but I have 20 minutes, team meeting every morning at 9 a.m., 30-minute huddle. That's my morning. In the afternoon at noontime, 20 minutes sectioned off for them. And then 4:30, 20 minutes sectioned off, for team as well, just to wrap up some things there. And then in between all of those, that's in my calendar every day. And then in between those is when I'll have, regular client appointments or things like that, meeting people for coffee, meeting people for lunch. That changes. But the foundation of my day is built around those things.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And you pretty much have it set where you do it consistently. Like you don't stray from that.
Right. Yeah. It's, there's some days are better than others, in all honesty, but yeah, that's what I've built my days and my weeks around.
Okay. So you're calling between about 3 hours, how many days? All 5 days?
5 days. Yeah. And it depends on the people that I'm calling. So if on my realtor days, that's 3 hours. Right. And on, let's say my VIP days, it's that's probably more like an hour and a half.
Right. Because the realtors talk a lot when you call them.
Yeah. Realtors talk. Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's really what it is. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Awesome. That's cool. So you find that system works for you? Yeah,
that system works for me. And it's just, it's something that I can schedule easily. It's not a heavy lift. It's not hard to do. It's just something I've been able to do, and commit to, because it's easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. Who else? I know this is a tough topic.
Who else is doing it the right way?
Yeah, right. Do as I say, not as I do. Come on, Bill, tell us, what do you do?
I do it the wrong way. I'm not going to stand up on a soapbox and say,
okay.
Yeah, I'm doing it all like Bob Malone, because I'm not.
Tell us what the wrong way is so we don't do it.
Well, like you just said, I don't know. You get that phone call or whatever, and it's like, the sky's falling, run, we got to address this issue or that issue. And you put aside your plan and you deal with the new priority that just pops up.
Right. So then if you have it set up for your lead gen, let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to call expireds for an hour, or I'm going to contact 5 people, whatever your schedule, like whatever your goal is. and then you get distracted either by someone walking in the door or somebody calling you on the phone, it's over. You're not going back to that lead generation, right? Most likely.
Yeah, that kind of stuff can derail you. And probably it would be smart to close out your email so
Yep.
you're not getting pop-up distractions that way. And
Facebook.
yeah, but if you're into a a set period where you determine you're going to make your lead gen calls, it's really you just need to be determined to stick to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is easier said than done, but one of the things that my coach, the coach that I have this semester is, he's an amazing guy. His name is JJ Mazzo. If you wanted to look him up, Mazzo, but he has a great story, but he lives in North Carolina and he works for the core training right now. He's also a branch manager for, not guaranteed rate. What's the other one that's cross country? And he runs 3 different mortgage branches, 2 in California and 1 in Nevada. And he has about 40 loan officers in his branches. And he himself is good for probably, 400, 500 units a year, closings a year. And so he works at, obviously his schedule's tight at a real high level. But one of the things that he's really drilling home with us this semester is when you have those times blocked off to make those calls, that's just it's an appointment. It's an appointment with yourself. So if you were sitting at a listing appointment and someone in your office and someone came and knocked on your door and said, Bill, I need to talk to you right now because, the home inspector's not showing up or the appraiser's not there, or the smoke guy's not there, whatever, like you wouldn't stop that appointment, that you were in for that listing presentation. So why are we canceling the appointment with ourselves because someone's knocking on our door,
I know why.
And yeah, and you
don't want to do it. That's why.
Yeah, true. You're just looking
Right?
for the one excuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
To validate it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. If it was that important, you wouldn't let it interrupt anything, right? It's like picking your kids up at the school bus. You get a kindergartner and the bus driver's coming and they're not going to let your kid off unless you're there. You're not going to miss that. You're going to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But if you had lead generation and they're like, I don't really need to do it.
Yeah. The other thing that he says too is when he's working in those appointments and when it's outside of his regular team time for questions that he has set aside, his rule is don't bother me unless it involves a moving truck. So if somebody's got their stuff in their moving truck and there's a problem, then you can bother me. But aside from that, if it doesn't involve a moving truck, it can wait another 45 minutes to an hour until we're done here making these calls.
Right.
And I thought, the reason I'm bringing these things up here today isn't because I'm preaching it and saying that's what I'm good at. He's bringing those up on our calls for a reason, but it just makes all the sense in the world,
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what does Gary Keller say that our job is? The 5 things that a real estate agent's job is? What's the 5 things that we're supposed to do and basically only do?
Practice scripts.
Yeah.
Go on appointments.
Bob, you know it.
Where's
all the KW people?
I know.
Lead generate.
Come on.
Yeah, lead gen.
Listen, I know Bob Malone knows it, but
Practice scripts, go on appointments. What are the other 2?
Come on. What is it, guys? You guys should know this.
Follow up.
Negotiate contracts.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's put them in order. Lead generation.
Yep.
What next?
Lead follow up.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
The most important one. Thank you, Tasia. Next one.
Appointments.
Go on appointments. 4th.
Negotiate contracts.
Negotiate contracts. And
Script and
5.
dialogue.
Scripts.
Practice scripts and dialogues. Yep. That's really what we're supposed to be doing every day. And that's it. You can leverage everything else off.
That's great.
Right?
Well, I'm
All
not
right.
going to leverage off my 7 hugs a day, though.
No, we can't leverage that off.
So I'll share.
Thank you.
So last year, well, oh God, it is last year. I had closing after closing after closing, which was great. I had, 5 going at the same time. That's the most I've had since I started. And the result of that is that I'm in pain now. And the reason why I'm in pain is because I didn't do any, I didn't keep my schedule of lead generation. So I've made a shift, and I first got into coaching. So I have a coach. It's once every week, whether it's one-on-one or a group. And then I started to go on the pivot call in the morning. It's from 8 to 8:25, which I strongly recommend to get it into your schedule. And then from there, I joined the accountability on Mondays with Ben. And so Ben had this sheet that he said, he carries around with them every single day. So trust me, I'm not perfect, but I've made a conscious decision that every single day that I will call or contact minimum 10 people. I'm not going to the 25, the 40 that people say. Not that I'm not going to, but this is where I'm starting. I'm chipping away a little at a time. Am I in total pain? I am in complete pain, but I continue to do it every single day, because what they say is that you just keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, and it'll eventually. Have I got more negative than positive? Absolutely. This morning I got a lovely email saying that I was harassing her because I sent one email. And, I apologize. I sent to each person, I'm sorry that, I sent you an email and it was harassing. And, but I just keep writing it down and keep doing it. And I've consciously chosen to do that. Have I got any business? No. Do I know that there'll be business in the future? Well, if I go by what Billy said, time over task over time, or whatever that's saying,
Yep, you're right.
it will happen. And I am in total pain now, and sad and awful and cry and blah, 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 because there's no business. But I am living, breathing, dying, and I'm going to do this until something pops. So there you go. That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I heard Rick Murray say something, Margaret, that might resonate with you, and it was this: don't become attached to the outcome, become attached to the process.
Mm-hmm.
And that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
The more no's you get, you're closer to yes, because you need so many no's to get to yes. So if you get a no, celebrate it. Yay, because I'm one step closer to that yes.
It's like somebody else ripped me apart. Woohoo! Let's go.
Yay. So Margaret, that email, was it somebody like a sphere of influence person? Was it a miscellaneous, like who was this person that thought you were harassing them?
So this is another learning part for me is on the pivot call, they said, make sure you wash or bleach or whatever you're, I go on Cole and I sold a house and I get all the information around it. So I one by one have been calling. And this time I said, okay, I'm done, because I'll call and then I'll send the email if there's one there. So this time I just clicked on all the emails and sent it all. How did you get my email address? This is harassing. And I'm like, so this is another thing I'm learning as I'm doing it. Like, okay, I need to figure out how to scrub these and figure out, who's on that no call list or no email list. I don't know if that's possible, but, so it wasn't anyone that I've spoken to. And it's my database is where I get the most positive. So I'll do some cold call around, and I'll sprinkle in my database and just to get, positive reinforcement when I call them.
Well, Gary Keller says it. We all say it. Your database is your data bank, right? Those are the people that know, like, and trust you. They're not going to send an email saying that you're harassing me. Right. So if you just stuck with the database part of it, you wouldn't get those. However, you're looking for maybe haven't met. So you're going to get people that are going to say stuff because they don't know you yet. So maybe if you called first and said, hey, left a message, I'm going to send you an email, maybe they wouldn't have reacted. But you know what? People have bad days. They don't necessarily mean it against you. It's just they don't know who else to scream at, and your email was there. We can't take it personally. We don't know what's going on. Somebody could be getting divorced. They could have lost their job. Their kid could have gotten in trouble. Like, we don't know what's going on. We just assume that because they, get a little aggravated with us when we call, that it's because of us. It doesn't necessarily mean that, I've so many, Corey talked about it before, you know, he got yelled at by neighbors saying, you know, don't email me, don't knock on my door, all this. And that person ended up calling him to actually list the property.
Oh.
So you never know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pivot, is that the Facebook thing, or is it, what is that one that you're going on?
So I'll
That's James
put,
Shaw. That's the good one.
yeah. I'll put the,
Is that the one you're going on, Margaret?
yes, it's both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's both. You can connect by this link that I'll share, and then also you can hop on Facebook as well.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, the Pivot one. Yeah, that's the one Christine was talking about. Okay, I didn't know if there was something else, because there's a bunch of different pivot things, like there's, you know,
Okay,
profit
yeah.
share pivot and all these different things. So
And I can't remember. Let me get his name. But somebody came on today. He
Jay Papasan.
Yes, Jay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jay.
he was on today, which was cool, because I guess today is the year anniversary from when they started last year. So
oh,
today,
nice. Yeah,
yeah. So it's been going for a year.
awesome.
Yeah, Jay actually gave one piece of advice about Wendy's way that she contacts her people all day. She has a jar of, it looked like little tiny stones, and they're on her desk. And she has one little jar, well, it's a little bowl, and then another bowl. So she moves the stones from one bowl to the other all day. And that's how she knows that she made all her contacts. So there must be 20 stones in the bowl.
That's awesome. And that's
So it's
Wendy
good.
Papazan she's talking about, not
Yes.
Wendy's, like the food chain.
Yeah, sorry. So it was more of a visual thing for her, more of like, you know, she probably has a calendar too, but I thought that was kind of a different way to look at it. Like if your bowl's not full at the end of the day, then you're not done, you know?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
That's
I
a good
just put
tip.
it in the
Fact that it is easier to sell a listing now than it had been in the past. But at the end of the day, getting that listing is really hard, right? And yeah, the client shouldn't theoretically have to pay for that, but that is part of our cost of doing business. But, you know, Margaret, if you've made, you know, if a realtor has made the decision to go from being a part-time realtor that just might take some deals that falls, you know, the 4 to 6 deals a year that might fall in their lap, to being a full-time professional realtor, it's not easy, man. It's real hard. So, but you probably more than just about anybody I know over the last year have completely reinvented yourself, and it's you're making some waves, you're stirring up that hornet's nest, and it's just creating a whole bunch of activity, and you just keep doing it. And I'm so sure that come May and June, you're going to have more business in your lap than you know what to do with.
And what's that bold law?
Bob.
What you focus on expands.
Yes, yay!
Yeah.
Gee, Bob, do you work at Keller Williams?
I know.
I feel like you do. So getting back to something that Margaret said about, you know, her doing her, what did you say, 10 calls a day?
It connects.
In connects, her
Yeah,
connects. So she's
yeah.
going to actually not call 10, she might call 50, but she's going to connect with, speak with, communicate with 10. And you guys have heard me say this before. A few years back at family reunion, there was a class about time management. The place was packed. Like I had someone literally sitting on the floor next to me, touching my leg. That's how many people were in there. Faye couldn't even get in the door. Like that's how busy it was. And they said at that, and it was the Jeff from The One Thing, you know, that guy. So he was there, and he said, you know, the MREA book says, you know, lead generate, you know, 3 hours a day, whatever. But when people just jump into that, then they fail, and then they don't do it the next day. So start small. Even if it's one call on Monday, I'm going to make one call a day or one contact a day. Okay, do that for a few days. And you're like, all right, cool. I did it. I accomplished it. And then increase it. All right, I'm going to make 2 calls or 3 calls and keep going. Don't just go in and be like, I'm going to make 25 contacts, because it's most likely not going to happen. I mean, if it does, fantastic. But once you are in the mindset of like, oh, I can't do it, I failed today, then the next day you don't do it, then you're like, I'll do it tomorrow, then you don't do it again. So start small, no matter what it is, and start on time. Say, I'm going to start it at 9 a.m. Every day at 9 a.m. I'm going to make a call, so that you keep on that schedule. You know, don't say I'm going to make one contact today and then it'd be like 8 o'clock and you're like, oh, I got to call somebody. I'll call my friend, you know? So just get, if you take little pieces, like Margaret said, then you can just build up from there. Does that make sense?
It's creating that habit, right?
Yep.
You know, I mean, creating the habit first and then building off of it from there.
Because don't we have great habits already of not making calls? I mean, we nailing that. We are really good at those kind of habits.
And the,
Is that the right habit?
True.
and another thing, I know I'm saying a lot, but this is what I'm discovering is when a name came up on my database, the pain would kick in, and the pain would be more so than me picking up the phone. So I wouldn't call, say, oh, I'll task them ahead, another couple of weeks. Well, it's been 3 now that I finally picked up the phone because I've come to this, like, I don't care, I'm calling. And, I've lost out on business. And, and they say, oh no, I sold my house or this or that. And that name kept coming up and kept coming up and coming up. And I lost the business. And just be prepared for that pain, because that could stop you in your tracks and say, okay, I'm done. But I said, well, I'm not going to let that happen again. So now I call, and I have people saying, I'm going to sell in a year and I'm going to have you do it. So I'm getting the good calls, but also I'm getting the painful ones of, geez, that name was in my face, every couple of weeks. And I just kept pushing it off because I was afraid to talk to them. And now I'm just like, the fear, I'm just pushing the fear aside. So just something to think about when you start really kicking into calling again. Just say, okay, next, okay, I lost that one. I'm not letting it happen again.
Right. And if they did sell, okay, great, congratulations. Who else do you know? Who else can I help? Try to get something else out of that person, some other contact. They know people you don't know.
That's a big thing too. I know I'm consuming, but that's a big thing too that I didn't do in the past, is to say, great, congratulations, do you know anybody? And so I've consistently, I haven't posted up here, consistently asking, which I didn't before. I don't know why I didn't, but now I ask, and there's two families in Mattapan that somebody wants to sell, and I'm like, oh my God, because I asked. It's like,
Waiting.
it makes me nuts that I'm figuring it out now, but I'm just glad I figured it out. So
it works. And we're always shocked that it works.
Yeah. Shocking.
Every time. Yeah.
Right.
One thing about that too is, don't forget that when you start making more calls and you start doing more business, you start getting more, swings at the plate. You're going to strike out more often, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing anything wrong. You're going to have more successes too. You're going to have more, hits as well, right? So don't let that mess you up either. If, more swings at the plate, more strikeouts, that's okay, as long as you're getting more hits too, and you will. But rejection is hard, man. I don't care if you're doing 500 deals a year or if you're doing 5 deals a year. Rejection still is tough, but you just have to commit to that process and believe in that system, right? Yeah.
And knowing what to say, number 5, practice scripts and dialogues, role play. That is probably the thing that holds us up the most is like, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? How am I not going to sound salesy? In practicing those scripts, the more that you do it, the more you won't mind calling people, because you don't have to even think, it'll just roll off your tongue. You'll hang up and go, oh my God, I can't believe I just said all that. Like, that was amazing. Wow. Because you've practiced it so much.
Talking about time blocking and taking control of your day. One thing that a few realtors in the call have talked about before is knowing that your day, the sun goes down at noon, right? That's how somebody here, phrased it. And it's basically, you're getting all of your prospecting, all of your money-making activities done before noontime, so that if and when the wheels come off the bus in the afternoon, that's fine. Or if you just want to go home, or you want to go to the beach, you want to go golfing, go get a pedicure, I don't care. Like, whatever you want to do after noontime, as long as your top job duties have been done, you can do whatever else you want to do, right? Oftentimes what happens is we're going to put off our most important activities until the afternoon. I'll just do it later. And that's when the phone starts ringing. That's when the wheels start coming off the bus. The kids are sick. You have to go pick someone up or whatever. and your day's derailed and you've done a lot of busy work, but haven't done your most important thing. And so if you just know that the sun goes down at noon, get those most important things done in the morning. And then that way, anything that comes up in the afternoon, you know, can get taken care of without your business suffering for it.
Mhm.
You
I mean,
gotta
did
eat the
anyone,
frog early in the day.
what's that?
I just said you have to eat that frog early in the day.
Yeah,
Amen.
Yeah.
Fruit.
Did
Yeah.
anybody else look at the clock at 4:30 yesterday and go, oh my God, it's 4:30? Like,
Yes.
what just happened? I just got out of bed like 10 minutes ago and now it's 4:30. And then it's so sunny out and you're driving home going, is it 3 in the afternoon? I mean, it's so crazy out there right now.
Thank
So,
God.
yeah, right. But again, with that said, you know, now with the nice weather coming, hopefully, I mean, it was like 18 degrees this morning, but, you know, with the nice weather coming and the sun being out longer, we're going to want to play more. But we have to get our 5 job requirements done first. Right?
Hey,
And then, and
Chris,
this go, yes,
no, sorry,
no, go ahead.
whatever. Well, this is Brian McGrain, and hi, everybody.
Hi.
I've been working with Donna to join your group. I just, as of last week, got through the test, and that was lots of fun. The real estate test, that is. But what I wanted to share was my background is really a high-tech sales background. And one of the things when you're talking about lead generation is using a CRM system. So when everybody's talking about keeping track of, you know, the client interaction, who you spoke to for today, and you want to call them back in 2 weeks or a year or 2 months or so, is everybody using paper-based systems or some of the new, you know, kind of digital systems, computer-based systems today?
Great question. Okay, who's using what?
Command.
Command. Yep, I'm
Yeah.
using Command.
Okay.
That's our CRM for the Keller Williams.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I never heard of that one, but that's just it's a
Yes.
real estate based type deal.
Yeah,
or-
it's for KW agents.
Okay. Oh,
Yep.
I understand. Okay,
Yep.
great.
And then how are you doing it? So, well, I mean, anyone can answer this, but Margaret seems to be just talking with me, so yay, we'll ask Margaret.
Chatterbox today.
I love it. No, I love it. So how are you calling?
This morning.
Are you just opening a contact and then clicking next, next, next? Or are you doing the D2Ds where you're doing 2 letters per day or per week or whatever? How are you making your calls? Like to make sure that you're calling everyone, make sure you're not calling the same person 8 times in a month.
So for me,
Yes.
I painstakingly went through my database, every single person in my database, and I put a task on there.
Mhm.
And I said, you know, whenever I spoke to them, I wrote a little note, what I talked to them about, and then I gave a task saying, okay, I'm going to call this person in 4 months. So I painstakingly went through every single one to make sure each one had a task on it so nobody fell through the cracks,
Okay.
if you will. And that's how I do it.
Okay.
With mine.
You can do it in groups too. Bill, do you remember? I think were you there? We were talking to Diana about, I don't know if it's a smart plan or something, but you can do them in groups and say, oh, I think it's a smart plan. Call these people every quarter.
Like a
you
quarterly
attach-
call, yes.
Yeah,
correct.
so you can attach people at once and say, all right, this group I'm doing what this quarter, this group I'm doing next quarter, and then it just keeps rotating. You can also do it by last name, right? Like S and O, I think are 2 letters that are together on that D2D sheet. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you can say, okay, this week I'm calling everybody that has a last name with S and O, and go through that way. And you can categorize or tag your clients. So that's what I did, Margaret. I painstakingly went through the whole database and said, okay, Margaret Anderson, A, you know, A and whatever the letter is, that's with the A and I or whatever it is. And then Bill Stone, S, you know what I mean? S and O. So I tagged them all by the the letters of their last name. So that's another way to do it.
Mhm.
What else are you guys doing?
Mine really simple. I mean, Command is available to me. I'm making the transition over to Command. When I first started my real estate career, I used Top Producer, and I still use it solely because I'm so familiar with it, and it's inexpensive. So, I mean, at some point, I will transfer everything on over to, I should say my process will be transferred over to Command. So I'm still transitioning with that. But honestly, for me, the thing that's been most successful is just a simple spreadsheet. Bob Malone had provided it to us some time ago, probably 2.5 years ago or so. And I just keep the spreadsheet because for me, it's super manageable. It's not a large system. I don't have to worry about whether or not I have an internet connection. I can easily print it. I can move people around, and it tells me everything I need to know. You know, who they are, what they're looking to do, who referred them to me, or how did I find them, when my last conversation was, and when I think they want to buy or sell, if they're pre-approved, you know, all that good stuff. So I just keep it on the spreadsheet because for me, that makes sense for my brain. And that way, you know, when a new lead comes in, whether it's a buyer or seller, boom, on the spreadsheet. And that way I don't lose track of anyone, and I don't have to rely on a system, you know, that relies on an internet connection. So, I mean, I'm paper centric, so I have to work really hard to get myself off of the paper system. And the spreadsheet is the way for me to do that. So
Awesome. And what did Gary Keller used to use? What was his database? How did he use it?
yeah, Gary in the box. It was no cards in
No
like
cards.
a box. And that was it, our shoe box. Nothing
Yep.
complicated, but it worked.
Yeah, you just had everybody's name on like index cards and then called them whatever and put it to the back and just did that. That was
Yeah.
before computers, but it worked.
But it works.
So whatever works for you,
Exactly.
like all our brains are different, they work differently. So whatever is the easiest for you, do that. Just because someone's using this CRM or this Excel spreadsheet doesn't mean you have to use it. Just whatever you use that works for you, use that.
You know, I
Right?
think remember too that you know, I think technology is supposed to be, especially with us as salespeople, bring us closer to our clients. And I think a lot of people confuse that with auto drips, right? And technology pushing us further away from our clients just because it's easier, it's more comfortable. But you know, when we're using a CRM, whether it's, you know, something as technology-based as Command or the spreadsheets that Missy and I used, just make sure that we remember that technology is supposed to bring us closer to our clients in an easier way, in a more manageable way, right? And so if you find yourself falling into that trap about just kind of hiding behind the tech, that is a trap that you can fall into.
Mhm.
It's still about the conversations. It absolutely is about the conversations. And you never really know where your next lead is going to come from, and maybe not even necessarily why it comes to you. So I subscribe to like the all or nothing mantra of, you know, if I wake up in the morning and I know that I can't make my 10 phone calls for the day for whatever reason, or maybe I can only make 3, or maybe I can't make any today because I'm feeling off or I'm upset or I'm sick or whatever it is. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. And if I know that I can't do it, then I know that, okay, I'll do it tomorrow and I'll just have to double up. But for me, I don't want to do anything poorly. I want to do it correctly. So I focus on the quality. And then my second focus is on the quantity. And, you know, some of my greatest successes, I work solely by referral, and some of my greatest successes have come from projects helping people who had no intention of buying or selling. And I knew that up front, but for whatever reason, it resonated with me. I helped them, and, you know, the referrals have come in. And I can tell you that I've worked with an extended family for many years that originated with an original referral many, many years ago. And I received a referral from in the group of somebody who was looking to, they wanted to refinance after a remodel and an expansion of their home. And they were looking for a recommendation of a bank that wasn't going to sell the loan. Well, what do I know about that? So I had to make 10,000 phone calls and figure that out. But I met with them. I gave them what I thought the market price would be. They had no intention of selling or even purchasing. And they have referred to me like 7 or 8 friends and family members because I really went the distance and really helped them and took their concerns to heart. So that is one of those examples of, because I really did a great job and delivered what they were asking me for, they're my fans for life. And I really appreciate that relationship.
Mhm.
It's given me so much in the way of other opportunities. So if you're going to do it well. Don't do it crappy. If you're going to do it crappy, don't do it at all.
Yep. Love it. And what about an accountability partner? Having accountability, Bill's going to be like, Bill came in one day. He's like, make 5 calls right now. I'm going to go make 5 calls. You better make 5 calls. I'll be back. And I'm like, oh Lord. Okay, here we go.
I'm so critical of myself. I feel like I don't need a partner for that. I'm my own critic. So.
Yeah. And that's okay too, but if you feel like you need an accountability partner, find one,
Or I think joining a group too is good. The accountability on the Monday. I haven't found it, or, I'm not going to bug anybody for the one-on-one accountability, but joining the group was easier and you feel accountable as well. So that's just another way to be accountable.
Yeah.
That's good to keep you on track too. I mean, whether you guys are all doing the exact same thing and holding each other accountable to it, but I mean, Margaret, again, just the change in what you've done is just incredible. But Monday,
you can come and hang out with me anytime you want. You keep complimenting me. I love it.
Don't threaten me with a good time, sister. I mean, come on now. But I think Mondays you're doing the thing with Ben. Tuesdays you're coming here. You're doing other things throughout the week too. You're keeping your eye on that ball. What you focus on expands, right? And I mean, you're focusing on being around people who want to be held accountable, people who want to take this business seriously. And, the business is full of people who think the other way too, that are just okay with underperforming or doing their handful of deals a year. And that's okay too, if it's right for them. But that you don't want to be in that group. You're looking to hang around with people that want to grow professionally and personally. And you're going to do that, even just by accident. If you're hanging around with those people through osmosis, you're going to get that. Never mind if you really start trying like you are. So I just think that's so admirable. And it's just the process, man. You just keep doing the same things that Ben and Kate are doing. And guess what? You're going to have as much business as Ben and Kate. That's just it. Do the same thing Dakota does. And you're going to have the same business as Dakota,
Oh, now there's a good goal.
There you go. Yeah. All you have to do is wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym for 2 hours and then go to the office and call 100 people, for 4 hours straight. And then the minimum. Yeah. I mean, it's that easy. Just do it. And you'll have the same business as her. But yeah.
And with that said, have your goals written out, do your goals, have a 1-3-5, because if you don't have that, then how do you know if you're on track or not? Right? How do you know if you want to make, I've always had people say, how much, I'll ask them, how much money do you want to make? 100,000, because that just seems like a cool number, 100,000, right? Okay, great. Well, how are you going to get there? How many calls do you need to make? How many appointments do you need to go on to hit 100,000? You don't know. You can't just go along and then at the end of the year on December 31st be like, did I get 100,000 or not? Like, where am I?
One thing Dakota told me that really motivated her when she started grinding away like that is, 99% of your phone calls are going to be rejections, but eventually you'll get to those killer deals. And she would just think to herself, every time she's picking up the phone, she just made $10 the way it averages out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every no. Yeah. Was it $10? Yeah, I can't remember what number she said, but yeah. Yep. So Margaret, every time you get a no, be like, $10.
Right. And I heard that example before too. And that is something that just totally stuck with me, where if your job was to get on the phone and get no's and your boss was standing over you, and every time you got a no, they whipped out a clean, crisp $10 or $20 bill and put it right beside you, you'd be like, another no, right? Like, that's what this business is. It's just a mindset shift.
Go for no. Isn't that a book?
Go
for no or something like that.
I don't know, but you should own that. I don't know if that's a book. You could pass that off as your own.
I know. I'll Google it, see if anyone got it.
I had a question, and I'm sorry if this is too basic, but I've only been doing this for about a week. So, I'm very, very new to all this. So I don't have a database, I really don't. I mean, I have like my close friends and like the people I've kind of like grown up with, guys I played rugby with in college, and like, neighbors and things like that. And I feel like I'm trending in a good direction. A neighbor contacted me about a listing, and like a bunch of my buddies that, that I graduated college with are like, well, I'm looking to buy in the next like handful of months, and I'd rather use you than somebody else because like, I know you're not going to screw me. You know what I mean? Like we even if you want to, you're not going to, because like we're friends and we go back. Like, so I feel like I'm trending in the right direction, but like, I don't want to, rely on my business, even if this is just a part-time thing for me. I don't want to rely on my business just on like oh, I know you, so I'll use you. Like, I want to try to at least grow this and hopefully have the choice at some point if I want to continue to teach full-time and do real estate part-time, or if I want to go into real estate full-time. Like, I want that to be an option for me. So how do I get this to that point? Or at least, you know, make the steps to get there.
All right. Database. Do you have an iPhone?
Do.
Okay. Go into your contacts.
Yep.
You can all do this, guys. Go into your contacts, scroll all the way down to the end.
Okay.
Tell me how many contacts you have in your phone.
Oh, I'll do that right. I was writing it down, but if it's as simple, I'll do it right now.
It's that simple. Someone grab an iPhone. Anybody.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
363.
Samsung girl. This is
Wow. 306. What's that, Justin? How many?
Oh, shit.
363. It's probably closer to like 300. I probably get some doubles in there from people that switched up phones.
Sure. All right. So there's your database right there. So that's number one. That's your database.
All right.
Facebook.
Yep.
Shoot. I mean, how many people you get in there? There's another database. These are all databases, guys. Now take those people and convert them into Command or your spreadsheet or whatever you're using. And the thing is this, I understand what you're saying about like, okay, friends, family, like you can't just run your business off of those people.
Yeah.
However, it's about who they know, who they work with, who they play sports with, who they whatever with, right? So those are the people that you don't want to keep asking them every day, you're going to move, you're going to move, you're going to buy, you're going to buy, you're going to sell, you're going to sell. It's who do you know? Right. And from there and from, you know, other lead generation things, either it's social media or it's door knocking or it's open houses or it's cold calling or it's farming. That's where you're going to get those other people. And you just start building your database, but you've got a huge database there already of 300 people.
No, I mean, that's such a good and simple answer. Like that makes so much sense. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And Justin, you know what? It evolves over time. You'll find that, you know, as you, you know, have conversations with some of these people that you got stored in your phone or who you're friends with on Facebook, and as you continue to develop your real estate business, they're going to notice that, you know, through what you put out, and you're going to, you know, start to see that you build credibility. And next thing you know, a friend of your best friend from high school is going to reach out and say, hey, you know, so-and-so told me that you might be able to help me buy a home. Want to know if we can talk. And it just tends to snowball from there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, putting stuff on social media. I've had messages from people that I haven't literally seen since high school. And I don't even remember if I was really friends with them or not, to be honest, like it was so long ago. And it's like, oh, I got to sell my mother's house. Okay, here I come. You know, it's just like you put yourself out there and people see that you're working, you take it seriously and, you know, you're professional, then they will refer people to you. You know, I've had people refer me business that I have never met before. I was talking to Justin O'Connor about this yesterday, and, you know, I have a farm area, as most of you know, and I was referred from somebody in my farm that I've never met, his brother, who I sold a multifamily with. And then they purchased a home in Florida and I got a referral fee. And then they referred me their other brother. And I've never met that guy. He came to my pie party when we had it 2 years ago, and I walked right by him because I never saw him before. But and then when I looked from across the room, I'm like, because I looked him up on Facebook, so I knew what he looked like because I knew he was coming. I mean, it's like, so you never know where you're going to get business from.
All right.
It's amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I think a really good person, Justin, for you to talk to too is Justin O'Connor as well, because he was in the same boat. It was a full-time teacher himself, and he just left teaching to take on real estate full-time too.
Seems to be a trend.
Yeah.
Teachers make good agents.
Yeah. He would be a good person to talk to. He left his job, had a baby, all the things like at the same time. So yeah, talk about pressure, but he would be a good person to connect with.
Mm-hmm. And he's doing a farm area right now. He's picking his farm as we speak. Well, yesterday he was. I don't know if he's really doing it this exact moment, but you get my point. Huh?
He's sowing his seeds. He's planting his crop.
Exactly.
Justin, I've been talking to Justin a lot too, and we've been kind of bouncing ideas off of each other, and we're both in the same accountability group. And that has made a huge difference for me, because I was definitely I get a little hold of myself back and not comfortable with the calls at the beginning. And then I continue doing the classes and the script calls. And now I've made it a point to try to get the 20 contacts some way. And, you know, trying to get a little bit creative. Sometimes I'm texting people and getting responses. I hope that helps. But I did go through my phone, and then I reached out to all my siblings and asked them for all the contacts in their phones, because I know most of their friends as well. And I'm getting some responses that way. So
Nice.
helping.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're gonna just jump into it and all of a sudden you have like 80 listings. It doesn't work that way. Time over text, go over time, right? You know, that's what it takes. It's not like a, I mean, again, unless you're pounding the phones all day, every day, it's gonna take a little bit of time. And it depends on what lead generation activities are you doing. You know, are you doing things that are going to get you now business, or are you doing things that are gonna get you future business? That's the other thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, I was just gonna say that, you know, I forget if it was Yogi Berra or something that said, you know, the more I practice, the luckier I get. You know, and it's just, you know, the more I do, the luckier I get. So the more calls you're gonna make, sure, the more you're gonna strike out, and the more you're planting seeds for business that you're gonna get 3 to 6 months from now. But at the end of the day, the luckier you're going to get too, you know?
Yep. Yep. Another thing I was just thinking too, I don't know if you guys use your alerts, like your, what do you call it? God, what's wrong with me? You know, the clock in your phone? Yeah, you know, the clock, your alarm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I use that like all the time. Like, even if I like a class, like 5 or 10 minutes before I'm going to class, I put the alarm, like this class or whatever I'm doing, because I'm just, even though it's in my calendar, sometimes it's just, if I get sidetracked, I got to remember I have something to do. So, you know, set up a clock saying, okay, lead generate, you know, put it on for, or put the timer on for 30 minutes or something, just to kind of give you that, okay, I got to do it. You know, it's another way of something, technology kind of telling you, hey, you need to do this now. Make it be not an annoying sound. I've learned that. Make it like a nice sound, because if it's annoying sound, you'll get mad and not want to do it. You want me to tell you my funny story about that?
Yes.
So I had my husband on a ringtone, and it annoyed the crap out of me. It was a terrible ringtone. And every time it rang, I would get so angry. And then I would pick up the phone and I'm like, what? You know, like, it just made me so mad. And after a while, I'm like, oh my God, it's the ringtone is making me so mad. So I'm like, I have to change it to like a happy ringtone. So watch the ringtone, because it makes a big difference, like mentally.
That's so funny.
Yeah. You know, me just being honest, throwing it out there.
It wasn't like the Darth Vader theme, was it? Like, you know, dun, 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 every time you called.
No, but that probably would have been better than the one I had.
Yeah.
I think Dakota uses Fred Flintstone Yabba Dabba Do. At least
She does.
Yep.
Yep.
She still does, but I've heard it in the past coming out of her office.
You can, yeah. Yeah. You can actually download funny like songs or sayings to your phone and attach them to certain people or to, you know, your alarm. So it could be something like, you need to lead generate. There was one that I had, like, it was saying like the money, money, money song, you know, that was on my old phone. Now I don't have them, but you know, whatever works, do it.
Yep.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
I think another thing to remember when we're talking about proactively planning our day with our priorities, right? Based on our priorities. The other thing to keep in mind is that when you're in the middle of doing what you've scheduled, you know, to do, and someone else calls, it's a client that's under agreement or something like that, or even an email comes in, a text message, you know, that's their priority, right? And so, you know, calling you was their priority. So when you pick up and allow their priority to take precedent over, a priority over your priorities, you know, that's your business isn't going to grow that way. You know, We've all been in the same boat where we chip a tooth or we have to go to the doctor for whatever reason, and you call your doctor and you're in pain or whatever, but the doctor says, okay, I can see you tomorrow at 2. How many of us have changed doctors just because that's happened, and it's just, that's life, and we're here to, provide this a proactive real estate experience for our clients. And I think sometimes we confuse providing an experience with providing great service. I think service can be reactive and providing an experience can be proactive, and just don't allow, do your best to not allow other people's priorities to take priority over yours. That's really important.
Right. So on that, okay, your client calls, well, I want to, have really good communication and I want to be there when they call, when they call, I want to answer right away. Okay, great. What can you do? What can you implement so that you don't feel like they think that you are not getting back to them fast enough? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What can you implement so that your clients still feel like you're going to be there for them?
So one thing I generally do is I'll reject the call with a text message, just letting them know that I'm in the middle of something. I'll call them back shortly, and I do. I call back within half an hour to an hour.
Mm-hmm. Sure, and that's definitely fine if you're like, wherever, whatever you're doing, like say you're at a supermarket or wherever you are. But if you're lead generating, the phone should be off, or like you shouldn't respond to anybody when you're lead generating, no matter what it is, because that's what distracts you, right? Because now you're like, okay, let me text them, like I'll get back to them. And then you're like, all right, what was my script? Who was I calling? And then it takes time, right? So what else can you do without getting back to them that second? So letting them wait an hour or two, because no one's going to die. They can wait. What can you do? What can you implement? So
let them know, excuse me, let them know up front when you list the property.
Yep. Communication, let them know up front. What else can you do?
Regular updates.
What's that?
Regular updates.
Yep. So update them throughout, let them know when you're going to update them and say, hey, listen, I'm going to call you every Friday between 12 and 1 or whatever your time frame is. Feel free to call me anytime and I'll get back to you, right? As soon as I can. But if you keep on top of updates, then they'll call you less. So correct. The other thing you can do is on your voicemail, just say, hey, I'm unavailable to come to the phone. I'll be returning calls from 12 to 2 and 4 to 6 or whatever around your, your lead generation schedule. That way they're going to hear the message. They're going to go, okay, I'm not expecting him or her to respond right away. They're going to call me back between 11 and 2 or 12 and 2, whatever the voicemail says, but make sure you call them back between 12 and 2. Right? That way they don't feel like, oh God, they're waiting for you, because they're like, okay, that's the time. So now I can just wait for that time. Does that make sense?
And those are very, very easy. And that's something that's very easy to put into your system and build your regular day's schedule around.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's why time blocking is important.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to have a routine. Also, I take the approach of, for me personally, I ask them in the beginning, what their expectations are, so that I can really understand what I'm going to need to do and how I can, this is going to sound terrible, but how I can train them to understand what to expect about how I work and what my process is like. And I ask them at the first meeting, whether it's a buyer or seller, have you bought or sold real estate with a realtor in the past? Tell me about that experience. Was it positive? Was it negative? So I understand what has upset them in the past, if they've had a poor experience in any department. And then, I'll let them know, well, I asked that question because I don't want to put upon you, the same poor experience that you've had in the past. I want to know what disappointed you. Also, let's talk about expectations. So, then I'll have a conversation with them about, I don't work 24 hours a day. I do have a life outside of real estate. I do take vacations. I work with partners. They'll take very good care of you if I'm, unexpectedly out of the office or I'm on vacation. You will always know if I'm going to be out of the office. You have to set the expectations. And I ask them, do you like email? Do you like texting? Do you want me to call you? And then you understand how to handle each client, and they're not sitting in their living room fuming, waiting for you to text them back at midnight. You know, I'm going to text somebody back at midnight. I'm not going to do that. So to know that up front.
Love it.
I sort of politely take control.
Well, you need to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your calendar, not theirs. It's your calendar.
Right, right.
Awesome.
I think, you know, one thing to think about there too is that, I know we're coming to the end of the time, I'll be brief, is that for me, my biggest challenge as a realtor has been other realtors in every way, shape, and form. Not only competition wise, are they choosing them, are they choosing me, but more so like this environment that we have to work within, and that everyone has different standards and different ways of working. But my biggest challenge has been the standards. You know, I'm not going to call you back at 5 a.m. I'm not going to text you back at midnight. And I remember early in my career, someone had said, I can't remember who it was, you know, would you call your financial planner at 1 a.m. if you were feeling panicky about, you know, an investment that you made? Or are you going to expect your doctor to call you back at 2 a.m.? If it's that urgent, you're going to go to the emergency room, right? So if we start to consider that what we provide is an exceptionally important financial decision process, it elevates our profession. And from a consumer point of view, we're no longer at the bottom of the barrel with, you know, like, forgive the expression, but like attorneys and used car salesmen. You know, I mean, what we provide is really very important. And if we present ourselves professionally and handle it as other professionals would, you know, surgeons, financial planners, CPAs, it elevates our image and elevates our industry and improves the conditions in which we have to work.
Love it. Awesome. Was this helpful, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Did we learn something?
Always.
It was really good. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah. Are we going to implement something that we learned today?
Yes.
Yay. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next week. And today we have the MREI class at 11 o'clock. So join us for that.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Right.